You guys spend money differently, obviously, and I've heard this from our previous video about why I think Spaniards seem rich, but now, and my point from all the stuff I'm hearing is like now I need to know, why do Spaniards seem like they're broke and happy at the same time?
Because we have different priorities in life. We have the right priorities in life.
Vale.
Vale.
Yo sé que todos quieren que hable en español.
Sí.
Pero yo creo que no estoy divertido en español.
No soy divertido.
No soy, no estoy.
No soy.
No soy. ¿Soy divertido o gracioso?
Las dos. Puedes usar las dos. Soy gracioso o divertido.
Pero ¿qué es diferente?
Divertido es funny y gracioso es funny.
Sí.
¿Sabes cuál es el problema? Que nunca sé cuándo vas a hablar español. Entonces, cuando dices algo en español, me quedo así como, uy, ¿estás seguro?
Sí, ahora en inglés. Porque cuando tengo más palabras en español, entonces a lo mejor más español.
Cuando puedas ser divertido en español.
No creo.
¿No nunca?
No. Anyway, but my reason for not speaking Spanish is because, again, what's that word you taught me? Vergüenza? Vergüenza? Is that like the shame?
Sí.
Yeah, shame. That I don't have the confidence yet.
Vale.
But speaking of shame, I have a question for you, and I've been waiting to ask you this for a while because you told me something many moons ago. You guys don't feel shame about living with your parents until like 30s and early 30s or late 20s? No?
No.
That for us is just not even I mean, there's people that do it, but you have so much guilt from both your parents and in society for doing it.
Yeah, but it's such a different atmosphere. Like, to me, it's shocking, very, very shocking, that you guys kicked your kids out of 18. Like, to me, it's like...
We don't kick them out. We just tell
get their luggage ready and put it outside of the door.
Well, usually you'd be sending your kids off to college or something like that. But the thing is that when you turn 18, it is a pressure that you have to help with the bills, that you have to start learning how to take care of yourself, maybe get out.
I know things have changed a little bit in certain things, but it is true that Spain is like the country where young people stay at their parents' house for the longest. I believe the average age is like 30 years old. When we move out of our house. And when I was growing up, especially as a woman, you will move out of your parents' house whenever you were marrying somebody or whenever you were like buying a house with your significant other. Like, that was the common thing. I'm not saying that was like everybody. Obviously, I didn't do that.
There's no like, is it a comfort or is it like, you're not, because for us, when we turn 18, we're looking to get out the house because we want our own space.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to bring, for a guy, you don't want to bring a girl home to your mom's house. You want to have your own place. You want to throw your laundry where you want to throw it. You want to.
Yeah. Listen, quick asterisk right there. So at 18, you're able to move out of your house, but you're still not able to have a beer.
Why we have to bring up the problems like that?
Because to me, it's just like it doesn't make sense. Okay. But so I'll tell you. So one is convenience, right? Two, usually your parents make your life very easy here. So the thought of having to leave and having to clean your own clothes, cook your own food, like that's like a lot when you can be with your, I mean, unless you hate your parents, what is the rush to go? Plus, espera. Plus, when I was growing up, your parents will tell you, you either study or get to work. So once you finish your high school, your whatever BOOP was called back then, like your instituto, once you're done, you either work or study. If you choose to study, your parents help you with all your payments because, going to college here is not that crazy amount. Yeah. You don't get in debt.
You don't die.
Like, you still have a student loan.
Yes, I do.
And you're 40 years old.
Yes.
And you still have a...
Thank you for telling everybody my age.
No, but like... But it's so crazy, right? Like here, like that's unthinkable.
When you turn a teenager, your whole thing is that you're getting tired of your parents being on top of you. You're getting tired of them nicking and nagging you for, the clothes, not making up your bed, cleaning your room. Like, Now when you get your own place, like that's the goal. Like, I want to get out. I want to prove that I'm a man. Like I got my own spot. Money is the issue, obviously, but I would think that's the whole thing. Like guys don't feel that like I need a place so I can bring my girl. No? No? So where do y'all go? Granted, I see a lot of PDA out here. Don't get me wrong. I see it all over.
People are not ashamed to show their love.
I see that. I witness it. But at the end of the day, like, you want some intimacy. Some
I have heard crazy stories about the new generations, because I have friends that have now kids that are turning into teenagers and things like that. And it's kind of crazy that they share with me that, they let them spend the weekend together in their room and things like that. I don't know.
What?
I don't know if this is a common thing. I don't know.
I need answers.
I'm just saying it does happen because, it's really hard to like move out of your house today. Again, back in the days, it was more of if you study, I cover all your payments. If you don't get married, what is the rush to leave your house? Or if you're not with somebody that you want to live with, what is the rush to leave? Plus, very important. I know I'm making a blank statement, but Spain wasn't a big country on renting. Our mentality was that when you move out of your house, it's because you bought a home. You bought an apartment, even if it's a small, but that thought process of going and rent back in the days did not exist. So where were you going to go?
That's fine. I need to go back. That's why because you're going off something I don't even care about. That's fine that you didn't remember. I'm trying to find out. You telling me that teenagers, kids, at that age, you could bring your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend over and they stay the weekend?
The thought process is instead of doing it in a park, you do it at home.
No, that's not. Nah.
Listen, I'm sure by region is different. I'm sure by parents is different.
If that is real, you know how many babies.
That didn't happen when I was growing up. That did not happen when I was growing up. I'll tell you that. But I will tell you that in the U.S., white American parents are very lenient as well, and not from now, from years ago, because in every TV show, you can see how teenagers like go into the room, lock the room with their friends inside, and the friends can be just one male or one female
If
friend.
I tried something like that to lock my room door,
but you agree that happened over there.
Yes, that happens over there. But for a black family, that ain't gonna be cool. Like at the end of the day, if I did something like that, my mom will break down the door, then beat me with the door. I couldn't do something like that. Let alone have a girl over for a weekend. As a teenager, we have goals, like financial things that we want to do. Like we want to be able to get a place and everything. So what is the actual financial goals of like teenagers here then? Because for us, the first thing we think about, I'll be honest, is not necessarily getting an apartment. We want to get an apartment just because we want to get away from our parents. But for us, the first thing is we have to look good. So we want sneakers, or our big goal will probably be a car. Like that'll be our first big like financial goal of something.
Yeah, you don't get your driver license here until you're 18.
Yeah, I can't get it when you're like 14. Like
no, and the thing is that you guys have a class in high school that you can take to learn how to drive.
Driver's ed, yeah.
And so you can get your driver license through there. We don't. Our driver licenses are super expensive.
I've seen, I know, because I have to apply for my license, and
yeah, that will be another video. Hold your anger.
Driving in Spain, I got a lot to talk about with that one. But anywho, for us, like we would want a car because getting an apartment is expensive, so that's a lot of money to be spending.
And you don't have a good public transportation system.
No.
Outside of New York.
But forget about the transportation. The point is getting your own space. That's the.
So the car is your own space.
It kind of is. Like, fine, I can still take, my girl, or for the girl's boyfriend, we can still find a secluded place somewhere, behind a building or something with a car. Like, you still got your own spot. You got your own kind of.
You also have behind the bushes.
Yeah, but behind the bushes is still an open space. Then we're looking for like our first job. So that's the media on our minds. Like we can start working at 14 in the U.S.
So age by the government where you can start working here is at age of 16.
Okay.
Now, remember what I told you? Back in my days, you either work or study. So usually parents wouldn't let you get a job if you're taking your studies seriously.
And kids are cool with that.
Yeah, of course. Because we have something called la paga. So your parents will give you money so you can learn how to handle money.
What's paga? Paga
Paga
is like, is that allowance? Like
like allowance.
Ah, okay.
Exacto.
But isn't pagar to pay?
Yeah, so your parents pay you.
I'm like,
They pay you to study.
I got some complaints from my mom right now.
When you're like, I don't know, 15, 16, and you start going out with your friends. And again, I'm talking about, this is the 90s,
ago.
okay? Like, I know things have changed a lot, but when you used to have that age and you get your paga, and then you go out for, you know, a couple of Coca-Colas, a couple of beers with your friends, that's where your paga will go to those weekend moments or to those evening moments that you will go out with your friends and like chat or whatever, or you buy chuches and you go to a friend's house, and like that's what we would do. We wouldn't necessarily want to make money to buy Jordans or to buy nice watches, because if you are at that level of society, your parents are going to pay for that. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're just like a commoner, like I have been all my life, you don't need to show off like that.
For us, we start working early because we don't get paid by our parents. And I'm talking about the commoners, or the ones below, like myself. Like, we don't get paid. Like, when we turn 18 or when we get a job, you are contributing to the household at that point. Like, you are helping your parents.
I mean, I'm sure that
food
this
and rent
varies
and groceries.
with families and
obviously,
with everything, but we don't. The concept of you asking your kid to help you to pay the rent, for example, or to pay the mortgage, or to like, that's like, it breaks my brain when I hear about those kind of things, because your kid didn't ask you to come to this world. It's your responsibility. So don't get money from your kids.
You hear that, Mom? For us, like, we had this thing called summer jobs. It's a summer employment, basically. So when you get out of school, and this is from ages like 14 to 17. I'm not sure if you can do it at 18, because at 18 you can legally work a real job. This was like a organization type thing. This wasn't, you just go there, you report to this place, you fill it out, and they assign you to different locations that other businesses that agreed to let you work there.
Oh, so it was like a third-party company that used liaison to connect you with jobs.
Right. So we can earn some money to go do
some
things.
Experience to get into the rat race.
So I think like the most we probably make a week was like $400 a week or whatever. So
yeah, that's we don't have those kind of salaries.
But the problem though is that, you know, back then we had to go pick up our checks from this place. So when every week we are.
Okay, I know we made a video about how outdated Spain seems to be to some foreigners. Not that we're saying that Spain is outdated or anything, but how outdated is the concept of checks? We live in 2025 and there are checks being used as a regular form of payment in the US. How outdated is that? You know, when was the last time I saw a check in Spain?
I don't even want to go there with you right now because I'm trying to tell my story of what it was like.
Sorry.
But anywho, so we had to go pick up our checks at this place. And the problem with that is, when you live in a bad neighborhood and everybody knows that you're going to go pick up your check, you got dudes waiting for you to pick up your check, and they'll walk you to the check cash place so you can cash your check and then hand it to them.
So you work your ass off for somebody else?
So, but yeah, kids.
Another kid or something?
Like older kids or whatever, like gangs or whatever. They'll try to rob kids
That's horrible.
Oh, it is horrible. That's why you come there with your crew to go pick up your check.
They had a group of 10 guys
going
to the place.
Yes.
Where do you cash your checks, or where did you cash your checks? In a bank or in an establishment?
It was a regular established check cash place.
Got it. We don't have those. That's what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, don't have check cashers like that?
We don't have checks.
I'm gonna check you. No, but see, obviously now that's why, you know, I'm happy things are different. I would hope that kids are being able to use, direct deposit now.
Yeah.
Which was the thing, like for me, when we came here, I'm like, okay, we're gonna work here, but
we've been doing everything direct deposit in Spain for years. Now, what I don't like about traditional banks is like the amount of commissions and things that carry with everything, and you're like committed to bring your paycheck. Like they tell you, if you bring your nomina, we'll give you whatever, a set of pencils, a set of whatever. But that's the good thing about the new times. I think that something is the digital era that has bring us so much. For example, and this is not an ad or anything like that, but we have been working with N26.
Yes.
It's a digital bank, 100%. It doesn't require you to bring your nomina, to bring your paychecks, or to commit to a minimum money a month or anything, and it doesn't cost you anything. that's something that would have helped us when we start working, at an early age.
Yeah, especially for
because at the
teenagers.
end of the day, you see that all this money is going to bank fees and commissions, and
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
when we found that bank, that for me, what was important was the fact that you can do through Wise, like all the payments, especially international payments, since we have work with different companies,
Yeah.
both in the U.S. and here.
If you want to open an account with N26, the affiliate link is down below. And if you want more information, because there's tons of perks about this account, sign up for our newsletter. I'll put everything in there and you have it in your hands.
Okay, now that that's out the way, you guys spend money differently, obviously, and I've heard this from our previous video about why I think Spaniards seem rich, but now, and my point from all the stuff I'm hearing is like, now I need to know, why do Spaniards seem like they're broke and happy at the same time?
Because we have different priorities in life. We have the right priorities in life. When you're a teenager, you shouldn't be thinking about buying Jordans. What you should be thinking about is, when and how are we gonna meet up our friends so we can grab some Coca-Cola, some beers, and echarnos unas risas?
Beers?
Yes.
How old can you be to drink out here?
Legally.
Okay, so if you're telling me that's the goal of like teenagers, is more about spending time with friends.
Yeah.
And if parents are okay with you studying and they're going to pay for you, then what is exactly the finances of like how parents do things here? What is the goal then? Because
what is the goal? The goal is to live and enjoy life.
yeah,
That's the goal.
But I mean, like, you don't have any like aspirations in a sense, because
have you seen the country?
As an adult, when you're working, what are you working towards then?
You work to get experiences. You work to be able to go on trips.
No, I mean, but I'm saying financially, because for us in the U.S., when we work and we're looking to grow our career, and the reason we want to grow our career is because we want to make more money, and the reason we want to make more money is mainly to show off, obviously, but we want a house, or we want a bigger house, or we want more than one car, have a second house in in the Hamptons or whatever. For me, we don't even know what the Hamptons is.
You've never been in the Hamptons?
I've been to the Hamptons, but I'm saying from Brooklyn, we don't know what the heck the Hamptons is. That's something rich people talk about. So when we get with it, we're like, what's that? Okay, that's the next step. That's the next goal. But that's what I mean. Do you guys have that kind of...
So for us, we always, we were raised with the mentality that you will buy your home. But today is so hard. Like, renting is expensive, but buying is even impossible.
Does it matter where you buy your home? Is that like a...
I mean, the problem is that nobody wants to live in a small town, right? Everybody wants to live in the cities.
Right.
Even if it's a small city, but people want to live in a city. So being able to buy an apartment or a piso, that we'll call, in a city center is really, really difficult.
Does it matter that it's in a city, or like, because for us buying a home in the U.S., it doesn't matter where you buy it. If you could buy a home, you bought a home. That's big. That's huge. It don't matter if it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, you own a house. This is a all-around stigma in the U.S. Like, if you own a home, like, you're a homeowner. There's a reason why you have
the American dream.
Yeah, it's part of the dream. But for here, like, if we had a house anywhere, in my eyes, that's awesome. I don't care if it's in the smallest town possible. Like, that's awesome. But that's not a... It doesn't feel the same way. Like, it has to be somewhere.
It has to be somewhere where you can have a job that can allow you to pay for that mortgage and things like that.
I'm not. But financially, yeah. But I'm just saying, just the concept of buying a house does it matter that it's in a city center or in a
I mean, it could be in like the suburban areas, like where we live. Like, it's okay. Like, buying a house in this area right now is kind of expensive too, an apartment. So, yeah, buying is the goal of everybody.
We also rely so much on credit cards. Is that a thing here as well? Do you do credit cards here like that? Like, I know you have the bank cards.
It seems like it's starting to be a thing. Like, now more and more I see ads about credit cards and things like that. But no, like, we always like run away. Like, the biggest loan besides having a car or a house that we would ask for is to go on vacation. And we always criticize people to get a loan to go on vacation.
Wait, oh, so you criticize people that get a loan to go on vacation?
But it exists.
But you could do that?
Yeah. Yeah, of course you can ask for a loan to go on vacation.
And the banks will give it to you?
Yes. The banks, the travel agencies, yeah. El Corte Inglés, they tell you, te financiamos el viaje, no sé qué, no sé qué.
Wait a minute. I just want to make sure I understand this. I need to get closer. I can take out a loan
to go on vacation.
To go on vacation.
Yeah.
And that is okay. Like, that would be justifiable. Like, that would be approved.
Yes.
Do you know how insane that sounds?
It's vacation.
If I approached any bank, any organization, saying, "Hey, I need to take out a loan because I want to go on vacation," what? I would be thrown out. They would first, before laughing in my face and calling the cops on me, because they would obviously think that I'm on some kind of meth.
But it's because you don't have vacations. By law, Americans don't have like vacations.
Do you, well, like when I bring up these points of how ridiculous you guys sound, do you have to like kind of show and tear my country down this way?
Yeah, that's right. I never thought about it when living there. I mean, I have never asked for a loan to go on vacation.
You bet not, because you will be laughed at, and the cops will probably be calling you like, this person is crazy.
No, like in my life, not even here in Spain. But that's like the other, like you buy your house or you get a loan for your house. You may get a loan for your car, even though it's not the smartest thing to do. But who has the money to pay 25,000 euros in a car?
See, that's normal. That's all right.
And then if you go on a vacation, especially if it's a big vacation, like if you go on a cruise.
This whole loan to travel thing is kind of like, it's getting on. When you go, I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. When you go to apply to get this loan for travel, do you have to like sneak it in? Do you have to like act like it's for something else? Like it's not a loan to travel. It's like, hey, I need a loan because I have to take care of X, but I'm really going to travel with this money. No. Because you really tell them.
See, because if you are doing it through a travel agency, they're the ones that are offering the loan. Or if you do it with El Corte Inglés, they're offering you to pay in time, so you finance the trip. And then if you go to a bank, you can ask for a personal loan to go on vacation. It's a personal loan. You can spend the money in, buying dresses if you want. The most important thing is that we will always spend our money towards experiences versus things. So for us, even though if you don't have money, you're happy. We will always have money enough to have a beer a week or 2 beers a week and to have coffee 3 times a week outside. These experiences or going on a trip, things that like feed the soul.
We don't have that.
No, I know.
We have enough money we don't even have enough money to make it to work at times. Like when we get paid, we have to pay off our bills, and then we probably still have to ask money from maybe our parents or a friend just so we can get to work.
Yeah.
Like just to get to work. We don't have enough money to even go to work. And that's bad.
Oh my God, you just said that, and it just reminded me when I was working in New York, how I would get phone calls from employees and would tell me, I can't go to work today because I don't have enough money for the Metro card. I'll be like,
it's true.
What? But I think the US is even worse because the mentality of like spending on things, on watches, on shoes, and granted, I consider Spanish woman to dress up really good, and guys as well. So we spend our share of money in looking good and everything, but the mentality that you have over there is completely off the chart.
Our mentality, and I say this a lot, is that we like to live in excess. And by that I mean like we want a lot of things. We don't buy the things that we need. We buy the things that we need, that we want, that we're thinking of, that we dream of. That's how we spend.
And por si las moscas.
Por si las moscas. See, but that's the whole way that we kind of operate. Like our mentality is that we don't buy things for us for the most part. And that's a very big concept in the US that we don't necessarily talk about or learn from. We don't buy things for us. We buy things for other people in a sense.
To show off.
So I'm going to buy these sneakers that, it's just sneakers at the end of the day, but I want to buy them so people can see them on me. I'm not buying them because I love them. But they're nice. Okay, cool. These are the it things. So I want people to see that I have it. I want to buy this car because I want people to see me in this car. I want to buy this house because I want to show people this is where I live. Like, it's very few times that we actually purchase something that's just genuinely for us.
But you saying that, it makes sense even the way that you party.
Yes, we don't party just so we can have a good time. We want people to see us having a good time.
See, because that's why, I think that video that we made about the Spanish are rich and they're lying to me kind of thing is because of that. It's just our mentality is completely different. So to you, we might look rich, but to us, we're just trying to live life.
Nah, y'all rich, son. I don't care what y'all tell me. Whatever your excuses are, do not matter. You got all the, going back to that video, just the idea, the townhouse or the house. I don't care what kind of house it is. I've seen the comments. It's a house. It's a place you can go to. Again, I say when we can buy a house in the U.S., that is like a goal. That is huge for us.
Yeah, but the other point, the other point that a lot of people mention in the comments too, the problem is that you will inherit something from your grandparents, and you will, and I'm not saying you, but people will sell it and then divide the money with the brothers, the siblings.
That is true. And let me tell you why we would do such a thing.
Because you don't get along with your family, because at 18 you get kicked out of your house.
No, that's not just the reason why. The reason why is because only thing we inherit from the past generation is debt. That's all we inherit.
From the student loans.
Yeah. So if we can sell, if we actually have something we can sell to actually get some money, take it. Pay me, please.
That's why you don't have casas en el pueblo.
No, and also my grandparents didn't leave no casa en el pueblo. I mean, like I get it. I'm sorry, I get it. I understand. It's not a mansion. It's not a great town. It's still a house. It's still a house. I'm sorry. You still get to go out. You still get to go away. Like it's one thing to have the house. Fine. I don't care about the house. I do care about the house, but the idea of being able to just go ahead and take that time and just go somewhere is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Granted, our mentality is not thinking like that. Your mentality towards experiences more so than actual like materials is a great concept. However, you want to look good when you get there, don't you? I'm just saying.
You're going to the pueblo. Who cares? Chanclas y un vestido, ya está.
Chanclas y un vestido?
Claro. Anywho, explain it to me. I have two good sentences, phrases, refranes for today, because it talks about everything that we have talked.
Okay.
One of them is más vale pájaro en mano.
Más vale que what?
Pájaro en mano.
Pájaro en mano. Is that like
pájaro?
Pájaro en mano is like bird in the hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Que ciento volando. Than 100 flying. So más vale pájaro en mano que ciento volando, which means it's better to know that one thing is for sure and I have it, than dreaming about the possibility of getting 100 of them or more of them. That's just a dream. It's not realistic. But it also ties out with the other refrán, que es el que mucho abarca, poco aprieta. Abarcar is like, let's say that like this. El que mucho abarca, poco aprieta. So the one that tries to get a lot doesn't hug too tight.
Doesn't hold on tight.
Doesn't hold on tight. Madre mía.
So,
basically, if you want to do a lot of things, you don't end up doing
nothing. Basically.
Nothing,
so,
yeah.
Or nothing you can hold on tightly. So it's not for sure.
So everything is loose and loose.
I enjoy the one that tries to hug everything,
Yes.
can't hold tightly, or lock hands or whatever. That one there, these are actually some phrases that actually make sense.
Yes.
Usually your phrases do not make sense, but this one I actually understand. I credit to this phrase. I prefer the second one.
The second one?
Yeah, the hug
Mucha
one.
abarca, poco aprieta.
Yeah, that one there I like better.
Thanks to popular request, we're going to make a full video about refranes and sayings, and I'm going to put you to the test, but that will be our next video, so get ready for that. I promise I won't bring any ass. Refranes.
Even if you didn't want to, it's impossible. It's
they will come by themselves.
It's always in every phrase. Like I'm sure this phrase here is your PG version that you gave me. I'm sure there's a culo or teta inside these phrases.